In 1628, in a stone cell in the German city of Würzburg, a 9-year-old boy was shown a set of iron tools. He was not a criminal, he was a witness, or so they said. Within 3 days, his small, broken voice had named 14 adults. Within a week, he was dead. His execution was recorded in neat, bureaucratic script. His name was added to lists that stretched for pages. Then the scribes dipped their pens, and the process simply continued. What happened next was not an accident. It was not chaos. It was a design. A machine built not of wood and iron, but of law and fear. A machine perfected over a century to do one thing: consume the people it was meant to protect. This is not the folklore of witches. This is the documented blueprint of that machine, and we have never truly taken it apart. The Drudenhouse in Bamberg was torn down centuries ago, but the paper trail remains. We are digging through the ledgers the executioners left behind. Subscribe to the grim past. Join us as we open the archives, blow off the dust, and read the names that power tried to erase. Every sub helps us tell one more story that history tried to hide. We often place the witch hunts in the medieval Dark Ages, a time of ignorance before reason. We are wrong. The most intense burning times happened later, roughly between 1560 and 1660, during Europe's so-called Renaissance and Reformation. An age of Shakespeare, Galileo, and the printing press was also the age of the public bonfire. This was no contradiction. It was a feature. Europe was coming apart. The Protestant Reformation had shattered Christian unity into warring factions. The 30 Years' War butchered millions. The Little Ice Age brought relentless cold, failing harvests and famine. Plague never left. In this world of collapse, people needed an explanation for suffering that was personal, tangible, and punishable. The answer could not be a frozen climate or an invisible germ. It had to be a neighbor. The logic, as documented in court records and theological tracts like the infamous Malleus Maleficarum, 1486, was terrifyingly simple. Satan, a real and active force, recruited human agents to destroy Christendom from within. Therefore, when your child died, your cow sickened, or your crops withered, it wasn't misfortune, it was malice. And the person who made it happen lived down the path. Suspicion followed predictable patterns, visible in trial records from Germany to Scotland. The widow without a man to defend her, the herbalist whose cure failed, the midwife present at a stillbirth, the quarrelsome neighbor, the person who simply didn't fit. Once named, that person became the explanation for every past calamity. The failed harvest 3 years prior, her curse. The dead livestock, his pact. Fear did not need evidence, it only needed a name. The Malleus Maleficarum, the hammer of witches, provided the procedural manual. Printed and reprinted across Europe, it argued witchcraft was a vast, secret conspiracy. Since witches would always deny their guilt, denial itself became proof of deception. The system was closed. Accusation triggered investigation. Investigation always found evidence, a strange mole, a spot insensitive to a needle's prick, and the accused, under relentless pressure, would confess. There was no exit. The process became a brutal liturgy, repeated from village to city. Step 1, accusation, a rumor, a pointed finger in the market square. Suspicion was sufficient. Step 2, arrest and isolation, seized without warning, often at night, cut off from family, community, and reality itself. Step 3, examination, a humiliating public search of the body for the devil's mark. Step 4, interrogation. This was the heart of the machine. Techniques varied, thumb screws, the strappado, hanging by bound arms, but sleep deprivation was often most effective. Days of disorientation, of being woken every hour for questioning. The interrogator did not ask if you flew to a Sabbath. He told you how. He described the devil you met. Exhausted, broken, you would repeat his story back. That repetition was your confession, and confession was never the end. The final question was always, who else was there? Every name fed the machine anew. We are tracing the machine's cold logic, document by document. Follow the grim past as we move deeper into the archives, to the places where the machine worked most efficiently. In the German Prince-Bishopric of Würzburg, Bishop Philipp Adolf von Ehrenberg presided over an engine of pure consumption. Between 1627 and 1629, his courts executed at least 900 people. Lists from the time, preserved in city archives, are chilling in their brevity. A girl of 9 or 10, the prettiest girl in town, a student who knew many languages, a wandering boy of 12. Age, beauty, learning, nothing was protection. Here, the machine revealed another gear, profit. A convicted witch's property was seized to pay for the costs of their own trial, imprisonment, and execution. The system became self-funding. Trials generated revenue, which fueled more trials. 60 miles away, in Bamberg, Bishop Johann Georg II Fuchs von Dornheim built a specialized facility for this purpose, the Drudenhaus, the witch house. In the Bamberg witch house, they processed a mayor. His name was Johannes Junius. In 1628, he was accused. From his cell, he smuggled a desperate letter to his daughter, a document that survives. He described his torture, the thumbscrews, the leg vices, the strappado. He screamed that he would confess to anything. They gave him the script, the forest Sabbath, the dark-clad devil, and he recited it. He named names. He ended his letter. They say I have confessed. That is true. But how I came to confess, good God in heaven knows. It is all falsehood and invention. So help me God. He was burned 3 days later. The executions were public spectacles in town squares, burnings in German lands, hangings in England and Scotland. They were not secrets. The crowd was meant to watch and to learn. The lesson was clear. Accusation is more dangerous than guilt. Defense of the accused is suspicion. Survival requires silence. The machine began to falter only when its hunger became too indiscriminate, when mayors, priests, and councillors, the very class running the system, began appearing on the pyres. Other officials realized no one was safe. Self-preservation, not enlightenment, slowly applied the brakes. By the 1650s, the worst was over. Historians, synthesizing records from regional archives like those in Würzburg and Bamberg, estimate between 40,000 and 60,000 executions in Europe between 1560 and 1660. Roughly 75 to 80% were women, often older, often alone, often poor. But the true scale of the horror is not in the final tally. It is in the millions who watched and learned to be silent. It is in the shattered trust, the suppressed knowledge, the communities turned inward with suspicion. The machine killed tens of thousands, but it controlled millions. The witch house is gone, but the blueprint for the machine still exists. It's in the archives, waiting to be read. Join the grim past. Help us expose the mechanics of fear so we can recognize them when they return. History is a warning, but only if you're brave enough to read it. Hit subscribe. Let's uncover the rest together. Today, the documentary record, the trial transcripts, property ledgers, and official correspondence reveals the chilling truth.